I thought my wife was having an affair, but the truth was so much darker.
My name is Michael Rains, and 6 months ago, my life looked perfect. I was a corporate litigation attorney in San Francisco, living in a luxury condo with my brilliant wife, Anna. I thought I had it all. But then one evening, a flash of gold on Anna's wrist shattered that illusion. She came home wearing a Cartier love bracelet. When I asked where it came from, she mumbled something about her boss, Dr. Henry Caldwell, giving it to her for organizing a charity gala. But the way she wouldn't meet my eyes told me everything. That bracelet wasn't a thank you gift. It was a warning. Soon there were more gifts. Tiffany earrings, a designer handbag, perfume that cost more than our car payments. Each time she insisted Caldwell was just being generous, but her hands trembled and she grew more and more anxious. Caldwell wasn't just any boss. He was medical royalty in San Francisco, the chief of cardiothoracic surgery, a man beloved by everyone. But his charm always felt staged, and I saw the way Anna tensed up whenever he was near. One night I found her awake at 3 staring out at the city, drinking whiskey she usually hated. That's when she finally admitted it. Caldwell's compliments were too frequent, his touches too casual, his stares too possessive. She insisted she could handle it, but the fear in her voice told me she was drowning. I started asking around. An old friend at the hospital confirmed my fears. Caldwell had a history. Smart, attractive women in his department would suddenly resign. Complaints were filed, but always buried. The night Anna finally broke down, confessing she felt trapped by him, I realized this was more than just harassment. This man was a predator. Using my legal contacts, I started digging. What I found was far worse than I imagined. Caldwell wasn't just a predator. He was a con artist in a lab coat. I uncovered a pattern of unnecessary surgeries, fraudulent billing, and complications that lined his pockets. I spoke to 3 former patients whose lives were destroyed by operations they never needed. When I showed Anna the evidence, the insurance claims, the surgical patterns, she was horrified. She realized she'd been complicit, scheduling procedures that harmed people. That's when we became a team again. For weeks, she quietly collected files from the office while I gathered testimonies. We were building a case no one could ignore. But Caldwell found out. He cornered her at work, his threats veiled as disappointment. That night she came home with a bruise on her cheek, claiming she fell. I knew she was lying. 3 days later, she didn't come home at all. I raced to the hospital and found her in his office. He had her by the wrist, hissing threats about destroying our careers, maybe even our lives. I got her out of there, but his final words echoed in my ears. You're both finished in this city. The next morning. On her way to the DA's office with the evidence, a black SUV forced her car off the road near the Golden Gate Bridge. She survived only because the guardrail held. She recognized the vanity plate. It was Caldwell's. That was it. No more hiding. We hired security, moved to a safe house, and went public. We released everything to a journalist friend, the financial records, the patient stories, even a photo Caldwell sent us, proving he knew where we were. But we needed one final undeniable piece of evidence. We found it at his annual Napa Valley Gala. Anna knew the layout perfectly. With help from a former Special Forces contact, we planted hidden cameras. We recorded Caldwell trying to bribe the state insurance commissioner. When that failed, he turned to threats, his true monstrous nature on full display. We even captured him harassing a young server. We sent the footage to the FBI, the medical board, and the DA. The story exploded. Caldwell denied everything, of course, but it was too late. His wife filed for divorce. Former employees and patients came forward. The FBI raided his home and offices. He was arrested for healthcare fraud, bribery, and intimidation. Then came the darkest discovery of all. The remains of a missing nurse practitioner, Rebecca Torres, were found near Portland. Her name had been whispered in rumors for years. Caldwell's phone had pinged in the area, and fibers from his private plane were found with her body. The man who tormented my wife wasn't just corrupt. He was a potential murderer. When Anna heard the news, she whispered, "That could have been me." 6 months later, we're in Seattle, rebuilding. Anna works in healthcare ethics, and I've joined a firm specializing in medical fraud. The scars are still there, but the fear is gone. The other night, walking along the waterfront, she told me she'd gone a whole day without thinking about him. For the first time in so long, we weren't just surviving. We were building a future together. Thanks for listening to our story. If you or someone you know is in a similar situation, please know there is help and you are not alone. Follow for more stories of justice and resilience.